I pushed the wrong button. Oh, wait. What was that? Hey, welcome to the live stream today on 9/16. This is the 16th, the middle of September. Welcome to the, let's see, am I seeing myself? What's going on there? Yeah, I'm there. Hi, how you doing? Hopefully y'all can hear me. Yeah, so I have been having an insane week of just super busy with stuff to the point where it's like I just work and I eat and I go home and I go to sleep and then I wake up and I have a little breakfast and then I'm off again and it's just nonstop. Unfortunately, none of it has filmmaker IQ stuff on it at all. We had those table reads a couple weeks ago and they were pretty happy with them. I just haven't had a chance to even open the files. The files are all backed up and everything. But it has been insane for me. Let's see, got 8 viewers so far. Hey, welcome to the stream. So, yeah, yesterday marks the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month in Lake Elsinore. They're having the big Mariachi Fest today, and I will be recording that today. We've got a couple people helping me out for that. And I was originally going to try to do like a live cutting situation where we're going to have like I wanted a team of 5, like 3 operators, 2 operators and a switcher, and then like a gopher that would basically help out move things, and then myself, and I would be shooting like B-roll. However, all my contacts at the last minute said, "Hey, I can't do it. So now we're down to three total. We're not going to live cut it. We're just going to record it. I've made the executive decision that the event itself will be shot in 1080 because the event's going to start about 6 o'clock and go till about 11 o'clock, and I don't want to deal with 4K files for 3 cameras. And basically, I mean, if I did 3 cameras at 4K files, actually 4 cameras, it's actually 3 cameras and a B-roll camera, so it'd be 4 cameras all together shooting 1080 or shooting 4K. I'll be closing in on a terabyte of information, and I don't think that justifies 4K. So I'm going to have those 3 cameras shooting 1080. The B-roll camera will shoot 4K because I might use that more for publicity, and I feel like that's more important to be in 4K. The event itself, 1080 will be fine. So that's the goal. That way I can squeeze it down to maybe like 500 gigabytes instead of like a terabyte plus for 4 cameras. So that's the goal for today. Do I have chat on? I'm not seeing anybody say anything here. Let's see. Make sure everyone's say hi in the chat. Usually some people say hi, but not today. It's been quiet today. That's all right. Well, maybe you guys are all shy. There we go. There's Jaeger says hi. So it does work. My imagination is not getting the better of me. Hey, how you doing, Jaeger Film? So yeah, that's the goal for today. But and then, the doors open at 5, and the event, which happens in a baseball field, a minor league baseball field stadium. Event starts at 6 and it goes till 10:45. 10:45 is supposedly when the fireworks are going to go off, so we got to shoot the fireworks. And then they say, "Hey, can you guys show up for the 3 o'clock tequila tasting that we're doing, tequila tasting expo?" And I'm like, "Oh my God. Okay, fine. I'll get there. I won't get there at 3. I'll get there at 4, and I'll capture some B-roll of it." I'm going to definitely have some of that tequila. I will definitely have a couple shots before we start because it's going to be a long, long, long night. Oh, my Lord. Now the comments are coming flooding in here. Rigel7, how are you? Rigel7's already here. Paro McBride, how you doing? My Life at Random ASMR, very good. Cassidy says hi, and Charles Lewandowski says hello. So things are coming through. Maybe it's super long delay. That's why I'm not getting any comments. Kelly Smith also says hi, by the way. So yeah, that's what's going on today. We've got the Lake Elsinore State of the City, and we're going to advertise. I've been working, shooting a lot for that, and I got a lot of editing piling up that I've got to do. So probably editing some more tomorrow. Even though tomorrow I really want to rest, I probably need to get some editing. In case the clients are watching, I'll be working tomorrow. Just in case you don't think, you get the bill and you say, "Hey, you were working on something." Yes, I was. It's long. It's going to be a long long ascent until October 5th, which is that event. At that point, which I might get another State of the City. We'll see how that goes running at me. And then maybe in November I'll have some free time. I know in November I'll have at least a week off because Thanksgiving week usually. So what happens? I do a lot of school district work too. So we do student of the month programs. We just shot 3 student of the month programs last week, which is why it was kind of a crazy week. So we shot 3 of the 4 that I usually do. The 4th one will be next Thursday, but in November, December are murder because basically all the school functions have to be compressed into 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of November. If you are an American. In America, we have Thanksgiving, which is the 4th Thursday of November. So usually the first 3 weeks are compressed as far as like all the stuff has to happen like really fast before we go on Thanksgiving break. So Thanksgiving break is usually like a week long. It used to be only like 4 days, but now it's a week long. And then after they come back, it's December. So December we're compressing everything down to like basically 2 to 3 weeks before everyone goes on Christmas break. So that's really annoying. You get like all this compression, all this overlap in 2 weeks. Then you get a break for a little bit. Then all this compression again for 2 weeks, and then you get a break. It also happens to be I teach a class at the college, so I'm dealing with that too. So we're compressing and then decompressing. It is fun. Anyhow, anybody's chat? Anyone wants to say anything particularly? Power is out here. Hurricane tropical storm is creeping up. Oh no. Charles, I was always 1080p unless you got a super PC. I disagree. So I mean, I actually default to 4K. I mean UHD. So let's be very clear. I shoot UHD 4K 3840 by 2160 almost always. Like I'm almost always shooting that. The secret though is I mean, I do have kind of a super PC. I mean, I rebuilt it to be pretty damn powerful, but I still do this. I still work with proxies. I prefer to just dump stuff in there at 4K, make proxies. I can make 720p proxies, or even I make 1024 by 550 proxies. So they're like a quarter the size of the 4K, and I work with the proxies because I like to edit fast. I got to the point where, if I'm in the right mind, I can play the keyboard and mouse like a musical instrument. Just move really fast through the footage. I like the snappiness of proxies. So I always work in proxy mode, even though my computer can probably handle some of the 4K stuff. I mean, it's okay, but it's not as snappy. Like you want that snappiness, right? So I always do proxies, always, and then I work with the proxies, and then output from the 1080p. I usually output 1080p, almost always at 1080p. The clients don't know any better, and they haven't been asking for 4K, and the only thing 4K did was that Temecula ad because it was kind of a high dollar ad. So is there a subtle white grain on top of the live stream? Is there? There shouldn't be. Let's see here. I mean, I don't think there is, unless it's just the white grain. I'm not seeing it. Well, it might be the lower resolution. I don't know. My preview is not so good. Let's see. Maybe I'll just click on I'm going to watch my video, my live stream. Here we go. I gotta make sure I turn the sound off. Oh, I can see my delay there. It's like a 3-second delay. Not on my end. I don't see any white grain. I hope not. Maybe it's like cosmic snow. I don't know. That'd be crazy. Oh, there's a little doggle here. Hey, by the way, Apple folks, welcome to the USB-C world. Congratulations. I'm glad you finally realized that Apple connectors are, let's be honest, bullshit. The most annoying thing about, I don't have a lot of Apple products. I kind of try to stay toward Android. I try to stay out of Apple's ecosystem. But oh my God, I had an iPad here or there, but having to pay for these stupid little iPad connectors, these little, never mind. Cassie says, I tried searching for TVs online to see if I could find a better one than my Philips TV, but I couldn't find anything. It was a laughing stock because of how some of them were worse than my current TV. You got to spend money, Cassidy. If you want a decent TV, you got to go toward, you got to be spending, I don't know if you're American or not, but American, I would say $2,000 and plus. Then you'll get an actually better TV. And I would check out Rtings, Rtings. To me, they really, they have the best kind of rating system, and they'll kind of break it down on like what you want to do with your TV. If you're watching movies, you might prefer a TV that has certain capabilities. I'm a big fan of the I like the Sony TVs, even though my particular TV has a really low rating as far as stutter. I feel like that's not quite correct because they've improved some things with it. It doesn't stutter that much. Like the monitor here is awful. But anyhow, yeah. So I think Rtings would be a good place to look for it. Are you housing an ATEM? No, I am not. Well, in my live stream for the Student of the Month programs, I have an ATEM Mini ISO Pro that I use for 4 camera and for live switching. So I record the ATEM Mini ISO Pro to a hard drive. I take that edited hard drive, because what the ATEM ISO has a nice feature in that it records the stream, but it records it as a DaVinci Resolve file, which I'll have all the edits and cuts, and so you can go back and re-edit the footage, which I often do. Like I'll make a mistake and just fix it. My current plan, which I spent a lot of time thinking about this week, was to move to an all NDI system, and in doing that, I would end up having to drop the ISO, the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, for vMix, which is what I'm using now. I'm using vMix to stream this particular. So I have the vMix computer down there, and that's connected to my C200 camera, which is shooting me, and it's connected through the Blackmagic 4-input Blackmagic deck link for SDI input. So it's SDI into the thing. So what I want to do is take that streaming computer, put it in a rack mount computer case, and then be able to make that mobile. And then I will add, and then I will be putting the cameras on NDI. And I went ahead and pre-ordered the Bird Dog NX, the NDI system, and I can do wired NDI too. But I'm definitely. And I also looked into that OBS bot tail that I was interested in. So yeah, those were what that's what I'm moving towards. So I got a video I want to finish up for just talking about the current way I switch, and then when I do eventually move to NDI, I'll make a video on that. That's the goal. But again, like my life is so incredibly hectic right now, I have no idea when I'm going to get to any of this. Unfortunately. What TV model do I have? The one I like at home is my AJ07 Sony, I believe is the name of it. AJ07. I love that TV. I don't watch it nearly enough. But I, as far as like everything about it, except one thing I don't like about it is something's happened with the Google television where it's not very, very responsive, and there's some goofiness what's going on with that. So I don't particularly care for that. I haven't really hooked it up to like a 4K, or PS5, or I have a PS4, so it's only 1080p, but I haven't hooked up to a good 4K source. So I just watch streaming on it, and I love the image on that computer that monitor television is great. Sony AJ87 or something like that, or something. It's AJ something. Do I use Premiere Pro? I absolutely do. I'm a Premiere Pro user. I obviously have DaVinci Resolve on there, and I had a DaVinci Resolve camera that was gifted to us through a sponsorship with Blackmagic, so I have the full version. I'm surprised that dongle still works on the full studio version of DaVinci Resolve. So yeah, I have the latest DaVinci Resolve. I can't stand it, honestly, that people tell me I need to move away from Adobe Premiere to Resolve. Because I'm agnostic. You want to use DaVinci Resolve, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but don't try to convince me that I need to move away from a workflow that I've gotten down to a science. just because whatever. No, but I definitely use Adobe Premiere. I honestly, in working between the two, I prefer Premiere. I prefer Premiere Pro, just hands down. I prefer it. Do I prefer having to pay every month? No, obviously I don't. but I definitely prefer Premiere Pro because it basically allows me to do whatever I want. Whereas I feel like Resolve kind of funnels you into a particular workflow. Like you have to do it the way Resolve wants you to do it. But with Premiere Pro, like I can put my window anywhere I want. I can do all kinds of stuff. Now, there's some things I wish that Premiere would do better, like color management. DaVinci Resolve obviously is better at that. I think the Premiere Pro's color tools are okay for what I do, but I'm not going insane. I'm not, if I really need high quality color, if I really need to dial in the color, I'm not that good at Resolve, but I would just output the Resolve. So, yeah. Anyhow, uh, what? Holy crap! I need a 70-inch soon. Dollars, millions, yikes! Yeah, but you got to pay it off eventually, right? It's not like you buy. Don't. It's not taking a chunk out of it. That's basically how I'm going to play this whole purchase of all these cameras for this NDI transition. Is basically I'm going to 12-month 0% interest it, and then when those 12 months are up, or at least when those 11 months are up, I'm going to flop it over to another 0% interest. I guess because my bank always keeps offering me these 0% transfer things. It's like, well, I just got to start utilizing it. Got to start playing the game. So one thing, I play a game called Transport Fever a lot. Transport Fever 2 a lot. And there's one thing that you learn, you got to learn in business that, and this is going to sound really, if to the ear that's not business minded, this is going to sound dangerous, but it's true. Debt is good. Like you want to carry some debt because it allows you to do more things. Like for instance, if you were to go and buy a house, there's no way you're going to basically save enough money to buy a house. You'll be 60 years old before you save enough money to buy a house, if even then. So what you would do is you take a long-term debt in a mortgage, and then you can pay that off over the years. Same thing with equipment and with certain kinds of purchases. Like, so I'm buying these cameras with the intent of making money off of them. I could either take all that money out of my pocket right now, or I could basically spread that over a period of time and pay it off. Now you got to be careful because you don't want to overextend yourself. You don't want to, and you also have to be careful of the interest rates because you don't want to get a 27%, like this 0% interest rate offer. It's like 0% interest rate for the first 11 months, and then after, and it's accruing interest all the time. You got to pay it all off by the time it's over. All right, that's the name of the game. You get that, or else they'll slap you with basically like a 30% interest rate for 12 months already accrued. So you got to you got to like get out of that thing before it expires. So that's obviously the dangerous game of it. Only go into debt for things that appreciate value or things that will generate value. So in business, if you're talking about, like, let's say you're talking about a company that needs to build a second factory. Do they wait till they save enough money to be able to pay off the factory, or do you basically take some debt in order to purchase the factory and then use the income generated by that factory to pay off the debt? So there is definitely a way to do it. Yes, I need 2 PTZs in 6 weeks, so credit is practical and builds debt. And for the personal too, having debt improves your credit score. So it's those kind of like those weird double things where it's like, in order to get better credit, you need to acquire debt. Now, the thing is though, like, don't actually be careful how you do it. Don't put your money into 30% credit cards. And, don't do the Kevin Smith thing where you finance your entire movie on credit cards, because that could be financial ruin. So don't do that. Don't do that. I'm an American. I don't want a smart TV or Google TV. I just want a straightforward TV without any ads, redundant apps, and HDMI. So Cassidy, with that, on the higher end models, they might have a non-Google TV version, but the smart TV is just some applications on the actual system itself. You can just ignore that. Like, you can buy a high-end TV that has all the Google TV shit on it and just not use it, because they all have the HDMI inputs. And I don't know about composite. Composite's sort of going away because, You can't really send 4K over composite. You might be able to find a composite one, but yeah, they're not too common anymore. Does much of your work involve still photography? Not a whole lot, but I do like doing the still photography. Don't those 12-month 0% interest come with a 3%, 4%, or 5% borrowed fee? No, not usually. At least the ones I get offered don't come with a percentage fee. The gotcha is that the interest is accruing during the 0% period. So if you do finance it for 0% interest, you are being charged interest, but it's deferred. So you've got to pay that off in 12 months. You've got to. There is like, it's not a question of, oh, I should just, no, basically you are being charged interest all the way up until boom, the 0%, the deferred is gone, and then you get slapped. So it's 0% deferred if you pay it all off in 12 months. So you've got to be like on it. And the way they make money is not everybody's on it. Let's be honest. If you get like 3% people, or let's say 10% of the people out there are just slackers, they do this thing, they forget about it, and boom, all of a sudden they get hit. You make your money. That's the game. That's the game they're playing. With all the strikes happening in the industry, is a good time to be pitching original work? No. Well, not pitching. No, absolutely not, because you're basically a scab at that point. Don't pitch like big stuff. It's a good time to do your own thing, but no. Episode 10 Foundation. Oh my. Okay, well, I got to go back and watch it then. So I got to go watch One Piece. Everyone's talking about One Piece. I obviously saw Critical Drinker was really high praising it, and I got a lot of students. So I do a weekly viewing assignment where you have to go tell me about something you watched this week, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a music video or YouTube video or TikTok video. I don't care. Tell me something you watched this week and how it impacted you. And a lot of students are turning in assignments. They watched One Piece and they thought that was really good. So. Use composite for your VCR and retro game consoles. You might have to actually utilize a composite to HDMI connector, because nowadays most TVs are not going to have composite at all. So invest in a composite to HDMI converter, and they're not too expensive. So yeah, that's the truth. If you want a nice TV, now be careful. If you're going to be playing retro game consoles, you might not want to get away from. You might keep if you have a CRT television, that's the way to play those games. You don't want to play them on an OLED. OLED TVs can look kind of bad to play those kind of games. All this talk about credit cards, why I use a debit card? I found out from my bank about fraudulent purchase of a Godiva chocolate. Oops. I say as I found out yes, that was totally fraudulent, right? Those Godiva chocolates were not me. I swear to God, they're not me. No, I don't. I'm just kidding, obviously. Now, look, there is obviously a benefit to, paying everything off, using debit cards to, obviously pay for having money to pay for things rather than using credit. However, the reality is I'm a business major and I do have accounting backgrounds, obviously. Debt is part of what they call liability. So when you do accounting, basically the business, the way you talk about business is you have your assets on one side, and your assets are equal to your liabilities plus your equity. So if you want to increase the value, if you take on a lot of liability is what debt is. There's long-term debt and short-term debt, and credit cards would be like short-term debt. You can use short-term debt to increase your assets, and with the assets, assets in business generate income. So the more assets you have, the more income you can create, and that's equity. So you can produce more equity. So it's a balance always between liability and assets, right? And it's the same thing with video production, right? And I'm guilty of this. Like I will buy things. I've bought a lot of stuff. Jeff Bezos is I have him on speed dial. I wish I did. Not the actual best Bezos, but I have Amazon on speed dial, and they're delivering stuff to me all the time. But yeah, and I owe them quite a bit of money. But luckily, what I like about Amazon is I do have the 12-month split up pay as you go. But it's like, instead of charging you 0% for 12 months, they give you 12 months and equal pay. So we're going to take 12 months and then you just You just pay exactly 1/12 every month, and so that's the way I do it. I forget where I'm going with this, other than the fact that so the idea is, um, okay, so for this particular Mariachi Fest that I'm shooting, I'm going to have 3 cameras. But I own 2 of the cameras. I use a C70 I'm going to use for the main stage, and I have one XA55, which is a camcorder. I love the XA55, but I need another one. Now, I could buy another one for like $3,000, or I could rent it for like $100 for the 4 days. And it makes a lot more sense to rent, because I need one camera because I use that for shooting Student of the Month, for doing long form event stuff where I just need a long lens, and I don't really care about shallow depth of field, but it's great picture quality. That's a great camera for that. But I don't need 2 of them until I do, in which case I rent from them. How am I doing sound for the band? I'm just taking a feed off the board, which is not going to sound great. I'm going to put 2 microphones in the field, and that's it. So the thing is, I'm being paid by the city of Lake Elsinore to record these. I'm not being paid by the bands to record these. And then the city's always like, yeah, we'll put them on like the Mexican channels. And I'm like, that's kind of a rights issue. I'm going to let you guys worry about that. But they tell me they want me to shoot it. I'll shoot it. Fine. But I'm not going to go crazy as far as mixing it audio wise. So I'm just going to do the mic from the board. It's not great, but it's clear, and I'll mix it with the field audio, and that's going to be it. That's all I'm going to do. And they complain about it. It's like, well, I'm doing the best I can for what you're paying me. Even though it's going to be a lot, but I'm not doing the sound mixing on this particular job. But that's why the B-roll is more important. I think the B-roll is super important because that's going to be used for publicity for the next year's event. And this is their 3rd annual, so they try to keep it going. What would be your advice for someone who's never casted before, based on all your experience casting? Good question. So I don't have a lot of experience casting, but here's what I want to tell you. Basically, how you work with a person is more important than really anything else, I feel. Especially if you're talking about small dollars, like non-celebrity casting, just casting people that are not unknowns. And it's really more about working with the people. And that's what scares me a little bit too, because the wrong personality in a small non-paying or a small movie, the wrong personality can break things. Like you don't want to have a person who becomes in there like a diva and just like sops all the energy, and then nobody can do anything else because that person's just trying to, shine super bright. I've had a couple people in my experiences do that. Luckily, they're only 1-day things, and it's like everyone has fun. They're trying to be the life of a party, and it's cool, whatever. They kind of bring life to the party, and everybody enjoys it. But if I was on a long project, it would feel to me like that would be like sucking all the oxygen out of the room and not letting other people, do their thing. I mean, that's just the point I'm going to make. It's, it is what it is, right? So I feel like with casting, especially, a longer project with people, it's about evaluating the people and how you work with them. I've had play times when I did casting, like the one movie that I got an award for, the one movie I got the award for, the part was written for a younger person, and this person came in and she was so good that we decided, but she was a little bit older. She was like in her late 30s, 40s, and originally written for like a 20-year-old. So I changed the script to make it for her, because it wasn't that necessary that it needed to be young, so it could switch it easily. So that's what ended up, working, because the person was so easy to work with and was so good. That's the thing you got to watch out for, right? Yeah, nowadays I know that maybe you can do your initial casting as a sort of as self-submission first, but then do a second round where you like take your favorites and like do it in person and get a feel for the person. This is the same thing, I guess, with hiring people for a business too. It's the same idea, only you're doing a much smaller business, right? So yeah, personalities are super important. So I'd be worried about that. Obviously, casting is also, you know, it's superficial in that it is about looks. It's about conveying the character that you want to convey. So obviously, that will matter, but don't let looks necessarily like trump everything, because I remember casting a friend of helping a friend cast, and like there was a couple girls he interviewed. He wanted them in because they looked a certain way. Let's just say they had big boobs. That's why. And he tried, but like dude, you can't act. Like there's certain roles like, okay, that will work for that role, but like not for, you need someone that has the personality and be able to convey, and then realize, you can do a lot with makeup and hair. You can do things with, you can do things to make them look different. Don't get stuck on like the hairstyle necessarily. There's lots of things, options, but basically, anyhow, I'm just trying to say is look for people that are, that are going to gel with you, that are going to work with you, that or work with the project too, and then look for the ability to convey the character properly. So table read could help a lot too. So yeah, you could have them do like a table read, or have them do when you do your casting, have them do obviously the sides, right? What do I think about shooting anamorphic? Got a Surrey, I can never pronounce that, Surrey lens, and I like it so much I think about moving over to wide aspect completely. Do you think we're moving over to that format? Yeah, I mean, if you're shooting narrative, yeah, but if you're shooting commercial work, no. Like if you're shooting commercial stuff, do not shoot anamorphic. But if you're shooting movies, knock yourself out. I think a lot of productions are obviously shooting anamorphic, and then you see shows like, I remember seeing The Expanse where you have anamorphic mixed in with spherical, and they kind of use it as sort of a like a way to tell what planet we're on or what scene we're in. So I mean, I think anamorphic's really cool, but the trick with anamorphic though, it's like it really is suited for cinematic material, like material meant for cinema, meant for viewing on cinema displays, at home viewing, but it's in the cinematic ratio. Like obviously, if you're shooting for YouTube, it feels very confining, like to try to shoot anamorphic, and it certainly doesn't work for social media where I got so many clients. It's like, hey, can you give me a tall version, a 9 by vertical version? And yeah, that's not obviously anamorphic friendly shooting vertical video. I had a CRT back in, so I got rid of I have an HD CRT television. It was in my bedroom for the longest time, and it was so big, and then I took it to the recycling. I just want to get rid of it. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. Are you sure? Yes. Are you sure you want to get rid? Like, yes, I want to get rid. And this is like 3 years ago. And honestly, I do not regret it, because I have too much crap in my house. And oh, you could have sold it on eBay. Yeah, I could have sold it on eBay for a lot of money, but then I would have to find a box big enough for it and then try to ship it, which would probably cost like $300 to ship it because it was so heavy. Anyhow, but you could have had it, Cass. They would have given it to you if you wanted. If you would have picked it up. It's just I don't own it anymore. Let's see. What I said about balancing reminded me of what my mom said over the years. You're talking about rent being more expensive to rent than buy, so we moved and bought. Yeah, as far as like housing, although nowadays it's in a weird place where it's questionable whether it is more value to rent or buy, and it depends also on your long term goals. I'm glad my dad bought the house because now I own it. And luckily I don't pay a mortgage on it because we own it outright. So that's awesome. But yeah, it's what worries me is, though, if you do rent, if you're thinking long term, like when you retire, are you going to be still renting your house? And that sucks, I guess. Social Security only pays so much. What movie did I made a movie called Pitch Black, and I made it way back in I made it like 12 years ago. So if you watch it, if you can find it, there's a trailer out for it. I should probably put up the full version on somewhere. But there's a trailer, Pitch Black, John Hess, Pitch Black. You'll find his trailer for it. It was right when like the DSLRs, like a year or two after they started coming out with DSLRs. So like the 7D, I believe. Oh, it was a Canon. I think I shot with Canon 5D Mark II on it, but I also shot with a 7D. So that's where, like a year or two after the 7D came out, the one that was digital with the movie video. I guess the 7D was only a digital version. So I was the director, producer, and writer. I was the Leslie Knope. I did everything on that movie except acting it. And I did have one line of dialogue I gave myself. I was played the 911 operator. So, but yeah, that movie won the Las Vegas Film Festival, like best film. And it was a short, so it was cool. I liked it. I tried filmmaker mode on TV, and wow, you weren't kidding about the dreamlike cadence that 24 has. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that the filmmaker mode came out worked out good. My Sony doesn't have filmmaker mode. They have their own thing. They're not cool. They don't want to. They don't. They're not in with the filmmaker crowd. Yeah, your first thought with the Vin Diesel. I didn't know about the Vin Diesel movie until I started walking around and telling people my movie is Pitch Black. Oh, you mean the Vin Diesel movie? I'm like, there's a Vin Diesel movie called this? Oh well, whatever. You can't copyright titles, so I'm okay. I didn't realize there was. Yeah, I mean, look up Twilight. How many movies named Twilight that aren't about vampires that sparkle in the daytime? Anyhow, yeah. So that's that. More comments? I like reading your comments. I respond to your comments. I probably have to get going around. I want to probably leave here in about 45 minutes or so. I'll go half for another 45. I've been on for 45. Let's go to an hour and a half today because I got to go get lunch. I got to finish packing. I got batteries on charge right now. So I've got the one thing I like using on this event, should be fun, is I have the Hollyland Solidcom. Those Solidcom headsets, really good. Like I would totally recommend those in a heartbeat. I tried in the old days with walkie-talkies, like relatively inexpensive Chinese-built walkie-talkies, and they're so-so. They hit and miss, and they're not comfortable. The Solidcoms, not cheap, but really solid, and they're comfortable, and they look professional. So I remember the first time I used them was on the Winterfest Christmas parade a year ago, and I have a set of 4, and the city just really wanted to basically make it like a KTLA presents the New Year's Day Rose Parade kind of a thing. So they loved wearing them, but I had to keep telling them, like, no, you got to talk into the mic, because the mic is what audio I use for the show, not the headset. So you got to talk to the mic, and the headset's the way I talk to each other. And yeah, they didn't quite understand that for all, but they love them, and I love them. So I like the Hollyland Solidcoms. Yep, Gwen Parks says Solidcoms are great. Another guy says they agree. Totally agree. Now, so yeah, that's really. I heard when I was reading the reviews, I think one of the reviewers was one of those yacht teams that runs those big giant sailboats, and they have to like talk to each other, and they use them. It's like, if they can use them, then they'll work for what I do. How much do they cost? So they're about $1,000 for a set of 4. So about $250 to $300 a piece. Yeah, so they're not cheap, but they're solid. They're solid calm. I mean, it's cheaper than getting a wired intercom system. Yeah, so it's in the middle. That's how much they cost. All right, anything else? Keep the chats coming. Keep me entertained. Feed me with chats. I need to read chats all day long. Oh man. Well, I'll tell you about. So we finished up our first semester or first project in my class. So the first class project is to find footage on the internet that's publicly available for free. There's plenty of free stock footage sites out there. Not all stuff, they will try to lure you in with really high quality stock footage for pay, but I want the students to work with free stuff for a time period, and then create sort of create a little montage of something that communicates some feeling or some thought or something. And I had a couple students that really did give me some stuff. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if this comes off to you, but I'm a big fan of the weird. I don't know if that comes off in my personality, but I love weird stuff. So especially when if you can push it all the way to the, I love weird stuff to an extent. Obviously I love traditionally dramatic stuff as well, but I love visually weird. And the one student that I thought, the student that delivered the weirdest video, the most surrealistic and most like mind altering video was the one student that had the most physical, let's say, disabilities, and is fascinating because I think a lot of people would see this student. I'm not going to mention any names and think maybe, well, he's obviously has physical disabilities. He has maybe he has hard time speaking too, but you wouldn't realize it. Now you watch his videos, and obviously he has a ways to go to mature, but he had a knack for picking some footage that was really powerful and then put it together, and it was like you're like, what, wow, and it makes it kind of makes sense, but it's so jarringly put together. Now is it all like particularly is it super thought through or premeditated? Maybe not, but it feels like it's kind of incredible the way it's put together. And I think here's the thing, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to mock the student at all. No, not like any of that situation here. I think what's really remarkable is that this is a person that has trouble communicating, but if I can, through this class, give him a tool in which he can communicate. I know he wants to be a writer. I don't know how effective he'll be as a writer because he has real trouble spelling, like really trouble spelling. But if he can make videos, it could be an outlet for creative expression. And I don't know, being a long time, obviously I'm a professional. I've been doing this for 20 years as a professional video maker. To see that maybe this tool can be used for people that have trouble communicating, that maybe this is the tool that they can express themselves and feel like some sort of release, some sort of creative outlet for people that have real hard time writing, that have a real hard time speaking, that have a time with musical, don't have musical ability necessarily, but maybe video could be the way that they communicate, that internal feeling, angst and all that stuff. And I thought his video was the most interesting video of all the students. Like his was just like, wow. And what he was trying to do was like, he's trying to put like a story about a guy who's half in a game world and then half in a reality. And he kept bouncing back between the two. And it was like, and then even it had one part where like people shouting at this poor kid, and then the shot of the kid like crying, but then all of a sudden like a girl like doing judo, and then there was a shot of a game with game music, with like, and then back to this a kid pulling out a gun in a firing range and firing some shots, and then it's like all this stuff. It's cool. It's really really cool. So anyhow, there is a charity in my area that is just a studio just for autistic adults, not children. This is what's cool. So they said, man, there's all these programs for autistic children. Why isn't there a program? What happens when they turn 18? They just get kicked out of all these programs. Well, these autistic adults need something too. They're not, so the whole program is just for autistic adults. People with more severe, not your like internet, I'm autistic. No, like more severe autistic individuals who have trouble, and the program is just for the adults, and it's a media lab for autistic adults. And I think, wow, what a cool thing. So I talked to him, and I was like, hey, we should do something together, because I would be totally down to helping you guys out. So I think that's a charity that speaks to my heart. Anyhow, there we go. The difference between what is it? The difference between Filmmaker mode and American mode TV is the former is very dreamy and good for binge watching. The latter is smoother and less dreamlike. Oh, cool. Mark McKinney was asking me, so this is my favorite topic. Have I heard about the 48 hour? I have heard about the 48 hour. So I am of two minds of the 48 hour. So First of all, with the 48 hour, and I've probably done this before, but I apologize if people are coming to the stream that haven't watched me forever. 48 hours is great for networking and for having a bit of fun on the weekend. Okay. It's a lot less stressful today than it was when I was doing it, because we were shooting on tape back in those days. And when you shot on tape, you had to digitize all the tape, and that could take like a whole hour. Nowadays, you shoot on an SD card, you can just literally hand your SD card. All right. I did an article a long time ago, like 7 tips for filmmaker, the 48. Do try to work in teams. The problem is I'm not really a team filmmaker. I'm a solo everything. So I edit, shoot, and all that stuff. Very bad idea for 48. You really want to have a shooter and to have an editor separately. Like they should be 2 roles, because the shooter should be handing off footage to the editor edits. That way it's not like one person staying up for 48 hours trying to get all this shit done. Be careful with casting. Get a team of actors together and then write for that cast like a troupe, right? There are things, so the negative aspect of the 48 hour I want to try to stress. And I've had people, I don't think this other person would mind me telling about it, but don't look at the 48 hour is not a stepping stone to greater things. It isn't. It's for networking, yes, but it's not like, oh my God, I discovered this talent at the 48 hour film competition. It's not. Get that out of your head. Like immediately erase that out of your head, because I've known people that chase that, and be honest, that is not how it works. And I've heard people say, oh yeah, but they, these guys won 48 and they showed their film at Cannes. Cool. There's a lot of people show their films at Cannes, like even during the festival, because everyone's around the area. I remember doing a commercial for the Nespresso, I think, vertical film competition, which was going to be shown at Cannes. Yeah, because they rent a theater during the Cannes Film Festival. They rent a theater and they put on a little thing, and they can say, now show it. I get it, okay. But the 48 hour is not a place to show off how good you are, or it's not a place even to get a calling card. Because you remember the iron economic laws, right? The 3 things you need the 3 things, right? Cost, time, or quality. Pick 2. Remember, that's the old joke. The iron law of economics: cost, time, and quality. Pick 2. You can have quality and time, which means it's going to cost a lot. You can have low cost and quality, which means it's going to take a long time. And you can have a long time. I need that really done really quickly and low cost. It's going to be low quality. Right? So there's my nose is killing me. So there's always a balance between those 3 forces. With the 48 hour film festival or film project, you take time off the table. So it's not either going to cost a lot or it's going to be low quality. You pick one. If you want high quality, it's going to cost a lot of money. If you want low cost, it's going to be very low quality. All right. Now there's a rule: the 48 project, you can't pay people. There goes your cost. What do you have left? Quality. It's not going to be great quality. The only way to get better quality is to increase the cost, because remember, we can't change the time. But you can't pay people. What you can do is add more people to your team, and that increases the cost, but it's not a payment cost. It's more of a cost of people. So the more people are involved, they're not getting paid, but they're contributing their time, which is time is money. There you go. If you want to think of it that way. I made a whole video I was going to do, but I never did it. But like, time is money, although we don't have time. So their contribution is time. That's how you get better quality, increase the number of people involved, right? So anyhow, but the thing is, you don't have the quality. That's the problem. The 48 hour is not aimed at generating quality. It's just a stunt for people to network and have fun and do it over a weekend. And that's what you want to treat it as. Treat it as a way to network, as a way to get to know people, as a way to have some fun. Make a movie instead of making boring corporate videos about, road development and pothole filling like I do every day. I wouldn't mind doing a 48 hour. I kind of swore them off for a long time. Today I'm like, okay, maybe we do it, but right now I'm just too busy. But yeah, don't expect quality out of the 48. That's what I'm saying. All right, I love this guy. So Clark Kent over here is trying to prophesize. What do you think? Are you good enough to enter heaven? How many lives have you told before? Ever stolen? Ever lusted? Ever hated anyone who ever broken God's law? Jesus paid for our fine. Thank you, Jesus. Amen to that. Have you? Like, what do you think? Are you good? Well, the question is, are you good enough to enter heaven? Should be thrown back. It's like, are you good enough? Well, you're not good enough either. We're all not good enough. And then they would say, that's why Jesus pays for your entry into heaven. Absolutely. So don't pretend like I'm not good enough, because you're not good enough either. None of us are good enough. We're all sinners. All sinners. Get into that boat, sinner. Do you hear that, man? Said, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. You're rocking the boat. Down. I'm going to go into my guys and dolls impression. I'm all for programs for adults with autism, but because autism is not something that happens in childhood and goes away. It's a neurological. Yep, absolutely. And we're talking to the autistic folks that are like more severe, like more deeply on the spectrum, that need help. Like they can't. They need help even living. They can't really live independently. Started watching me 10 years ago, really helped me develop a passion for cinema. Now I'm an editor assistant, yay, in Rome, and that's thanks to you. Oh my God, wow, that's kind of change. That kind of changes the way I feel today. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you were able to get something in Rome. That's, if you haven't looked into the history of Rome, of Italian movies in Rome and Cine City, Cine, C-I-N-E, or Cineseta, I don't know how you pronounce it. But there's a lot of great history in Rome, like all the stuff that's shot around Rome. Wow, that's really cool, Simone. I'm so thank you for that chat. Thank you so much. That's really cool. I am a little disappointed about that S-LUTs you advertised for. I thought there would be a LUT that would make everything look like Asteroid City. No, it fixes the look of Asteroid City. So it's shot like the problem with Asteroid City is they didn't apply the S-LUT. The S-LUT is applied. See, Wes Anderson just forgot. Like, I think he just released a movie. Like, oh crap, I forgot to apply John's S-LUTs. Yeah. I've made 45 films for 48, and yes, they are all bad, but they are done, and all my projects are in various stages of completion. Yeah. But the thing is, does it matter if they're done if they're not good? I've been doing some casting for stills to build up my portfolio. I did a 4x5 Ektachrome for the last one. Cool. Yeah. I haven't shot stills in a long time. I really want to go back and shoot stills. But the problem is it's kind of hard to find people to shoot nowadays. I don't know. I'm just going to be real blunt and probably very, very politically incorrect. But there used a site called Model Mayhem. It used to be to find like models to do photos. And it feels like the thing's gone way downhill. Maybe because, I don't know. Maybe it feels like there's a kind of general like movement away from photos. And maybe the photos, the more like the Playboy style, like glamour shots kind of a thing was kind of going out of fashion or something. I don't know. It just feels like the society's a way more like uptight, and it's harder to find people on there. Now, if you go on Instagram, there's an endless sea of people that are doing that kind of stuff still. Or maybe the site's just dead. Who knows? Maybe that's the reason why. Oh, the proselytizers here. Deep within the recesses of our soul lies the true spiritual nature. Every person has infinite potential lying dormant within their soul that is awakened through meditation and contemplation. You and Clark Kent should have a discussion. So far, I found it better to cast in New York and travel there, and to cast here, despite being a decent sized city. Maybe it's not so. I'm not so sharp, but I find that surprising. No, because what happens is these cities tend to have people gravitate toward the city. So if you want to become a model, if you want to become an actor, you gravitate toward where there's actual projects being made. And that's why people go to Hollywood. That's why people go to New York. It's where the projects are. You really can't be an actor looking to do big projects or make a career out of acting if you live in Winnipeg, Minnesota, because there's just not that many people in Winnipeg, Minnesota doing that kind of work. So even for still photography too, though. Yeah. Gomera is one of the best modern series out there, shot in part in Rome. Great stuff. There you go. I almost said gonorrhea. Sorry. It's hard for me to see some of these words. Nobody Special says, narcissism never self-examines or receives the revelation of God from his messengers. They only attempt to turn it around to others, emotionally manipulate the situation in order to justify itself. There you go. We have a lot of prophesizers on today. Well, it's better that than like porn folks. Nothing wrong with it, but like I used to get those like, sexy time. So we got narcissism, we got meditation, and then are you a sinner good enough to enter heaven? I'm really cute. Do I know that? No, I don't think that at all. I was thinking the other day, like, I'm not a good looking guy. No. Well, thank you very much, Vay Victus, for saying that. If your profile picture matches, you're very cute as well. All right. Cassidy says, have fun, especially nowadays with everything have gotten weirder thanks to COVID-19 politics. Have fun. Be happy. Land on your own moon, to quote the old PlayStation commercial. That's true. So, yeah, that's the other aspect with casting I didn't get involved with because I get wary of the politics. I mean, if you followed me enough, you know that I tend to be very moderate. And by moderate, that means I'm a right-wing fascist, just as bad as Hitler. To some people, I am worse than Hitler because I'm moderate. Yeah, like I'm literally worse than Hitler. I should be castigated. So I always worry. And again, maybe part of this is the fact that we pretend that the online world represents the real world. And in the real world, people are not as nasty as they are online. So, would it be prudent to look at the social medias of the people that you're casting? And if they are expressing opinions that you find quite virulent, it's okay not to cast them, especially in a small project where, people are getting paid either gas money or for food or, or even a little bit of money. Is that wrong? I would say no. Obviously, it can go the other way. They can look at your politics. They can look at me and say, "Hey, that guy he's got a very moderate streak about him. I don't want him on my project. I want to be super liberal and yeah, sure." But people have the freedom of association. You can associate whoever you want to be associated with. So, up to you on how you want to play that game. I love these. So lovely to have all the prophesizers here. If we are all sinners, then what is the difference between a sinner and a saint? Doesn't the Bible say that a sinner has to turn from being a sinner to become a saint in order to enter heaven? I feel like this is completely organic, right? This is not like non-organic. Have I seen Equalizer 3? No, I haven't seen the other two either. So I haven't seen any Equalizer. Simone says Cine Cita has a lot of history. It's not Hollywood. I don't know. I think it's cooler than Hollywood, honestly. It doesn't pay like Hollywood, but it's a very special place to make your movies, so it's more than good. Hollywood is garbage. Don't yeah. Like if you go to Hollywood today, you're like, ugh, this place looks like crap. Like there's nothing of Hollywood left, really. Like it's the homeless people. That's all homeless camps basically now at Hollywood. I mean there's some parts of Hollywood that are kind of cool, but like most of it's all built over and gone. I don't know what Cine Cita is like. I mean, I'd love to go to Rome. I'd love to go anywhere. But I'm too busy. Do you think the Zeiss pop or 3D pop is real? I have no idea what that is. I don't know what Zeiss pop is. So it's probably delicious. That's all I would say. It's probably got a little hint of vanilla. Zeiss pop, delicious stuff. Sorry, I don't know what Zeiss pop is. I mean, if you're talking about like maybe sharpness or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Have you ever seen Swordfish and Heat? I know. I have to see it. I did watch Puss in Boots because of Matthias. I did watch that and that was great. And I did watch something else because somebody mentioned it, but I don't remember what else I watched. In the real world, people know how to shut up. I know. That's regards to like the politics and online stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the same things in writing seem to be stronger and vocally. Yeah. And that there's the aspect of online discussion where it's like, if you're reading somebody you disagree with, you read it in the worst possible voice because you're reading in an antagonistic voice, right? Because you disagree with that person. So you obviously are applying your own mental voice to them, shouting at you basically. And I get that. I mean, I had that a lot of problems. Speaking of Jesus, everyone's talking about Jesus here, right? I love this. This is all the prophesizing. So Jesus was a hippie. That's all. That's all that. That's all. That's all that is to it. I went on a. I don't know if I talked about this last week. I think I did. I went on that police ride along where we did homeless task force stuff, and we went along. Like we went to like the bottom. They call it the bottom of the lake, which is like this dry, marshy area of the lake where homeless camps would basically flourish. And they found some folks, and they one person had like multiple warrants on for his arrest, so they arrested him, hauled him to jail. But basically, so what they do is when they find these homeless people, and if they're going to go to jail, they arrest them. They have a guy come in. He's a social worker, and he sits and he just talks to them. He's like, "Hey, man, why are you out here?" Like, and they discuss like, "Oh, I know you're on these drugs, right?" Like, I'm not. How'd you get on the drugs? Do you ever think about like not, getting off the drugs? Like, yeah, I want to get off the drugs. Okay, well, why haven't you? And then they'll just talk, and they'll be real frank, and they'll say like, just because you are addicted to it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Like you're not a bad person. You just got an issue that we can help you. And there's programs here that can help you, and it's amazing watching this. Like, I don't know if I did this enough I don't know I'm pretty sure I talked about this last week, right? But like, it's amazing what was on display, talking to the homeless, like, and the way the social worker was very, like, bro, like, I know it's tough. It's a hard, but there's ways out of it. We can help you out. If you don't, like, why don't you come for a week? Look, I know you probably had a good meal. Come to this shelter. It's not a shelter. It's called a crisis rehabilitation center. So what a shelter is you go there, you stay, and then you can like leave for the night. A crisis rehabilitation center is like you go there, you stay for a week to get you off of the stuff that you're on, and then they find you permanent housing. So it's not like one of those free ride things. It's like you have to sign in, you have to like stay in there for a week. Come over here, come on down. Every night they've got churches providing dinners for people, and come and have some food, and maybe you stay there for one night. Okay, maybe we can set you up, like, get a good night's rest there, and then we can think about what we're going to do next. And when I did that ride along, I saw that, like, that's what I felt the Jesus moments. That's why you talk about Jesus as a hippie. That's what I felt the Jesus stuff coming through. It's like, whoa. Like, these are people that you roll up your window when you drive your car. You're like, like homeless you just roll your window up. And seeing these folks go out there and there's a lot of focus about toxic masculinity. This is the opposite of toxic man. This is like benevolent masculinity. And don't get me wrong, it is 100% masculine. These are not women doing this stuff. These are men. This is masculine behavior. We are out there trying to help a fellow brother out. Not a brother. This is masculinity in its highest form. Literally, and you know what? You pull a knife, you're going to get shot. That's kind of shit. So it's strong masculinity. No homo, guys. Come on, calm down. Strong masculinity helping out other people. That was amazing to witness. An amazing thing to witness. And every other week I do a city council, and we always have 2 or 3 people that come to the city councils, and they are the personification of the most trollish YouTube commenter. You thought YouTube commenter trolls are just like they don't exist in real life. Oh, I found a couple of them. And one person's always like, what is the city doing to help fight the homeless situation? I see them doing nothing at all. And it's like, bitch, you need to go out one of these ride-alongs and just see what happens, because it is some amazing stuff. It's Jesus. It's literally Jesus. Like, that's how I thought the way these social workers are behaving around these people, even the police officers too. The police officers going to, we saw this old man sleeping next to a palm tree. I mean, he was obviously homeless, and they're just like, "Hey, you can't sleep here, man. You can't sleep, but maybe we can get you into the center. You know, you look dehydrated." And like that's what Jesus would be doing. He'd be going out talking to the underclass, the people that basically got shunned, and folks like me would just roll the window up and just pretend they're not there because we have our own shit to deal with, you know. But that's to me was like, wow, that felt really really powerful stuff. Anyhow, so yeah. I thought Heat 2 was an amazing book, says Flying Over Trout. Such a perfect prequel sequel to the film, does so many things with laser precision better than the film. Well, there you go. That's sad to hear. Of course, someone who's always looked at Hollywood from the outside of the dream never got reality check. Probably never. Yes. Yeah, that's the reality with that, unfortunately, with that particular city. Flying Over Trout says, I was homeless for over 2 years, was in a shelter for a few hours, decided never go back. There's even a decent shelter is like being institutionalized. Oh, yeah, the shelters. Yeah, I know women that do outreach. Yeah, I'm not saying that women don't do it. I'm just saying what I experienced was pure masculinity, and the good kind, like the really good, really powerful masculinity. Like it's masculinity feels like it's been a bad word, and people kind of downplay it as like toxic masculinity. Oh, but this is truly, I felt like brotherhood, kind of like helping you, like bring people up, kind of a masculinity. And it's not, I'm not ditching, I'm not dissing femininity at all. It's just there was zero femininity, none. This is all raw masculine power. This is again super homoerotic, but still, that's what I'm saying. It's raw masculine power. It's testosterone in the air. I can feel it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I hate the term toxic masculinity as a count for comment. Seems like it was coined by classroom teachers who can't stand people acting. Yeah, I agree with you totally. I just kind of noted like how the whole that Gillette commercial. It's like, oh, they're roughhousing and toxic masculinity. And it's like, yeah, this is like really good thing. That's why I'm not also like I used to be more libertarian, but I'm not libertarian. I can't go down that route. I got friends that are more libertarian than me. They think, well, like we don't need regulations we don't need code. We don't need building codes. We don't need building codes because the market will sort it out. Like, no, it won't. Like, no, it might, but it will take like if the city didn't have a building code, if you didn't have to construct homes to a certain building code, they said, well, yeah, well, then the free market will show you that the people that build the homes to a solid foundation will basically be able to make more money because their homes will survive, and then the people that are building very low quality homes, and then they will not. They won't make any money. They'll lose all their money because the market will decide it. I was like, well, not until a lot of those shoddy homes get destroyed or fall apart. So in the meantime, you're going to create a lot of like pain in society. Well, no. Well, then you have maybe you'll have these the Better Business Bureau or one of these private organizations go around certifying homes. Well, yeah, but if it's not a requirement, then you might have a buyer who's not very smart or is the first time home buyer, doesn't realize that there is these things, and they might go buy a house, and then, the building codes is sort of a you do need some sort of societal pressure to at least keep things on a certain. That's why I'm not totally libertarian. I don't buy the idea that people can are free agents that have all the information, because I don't believe information is equally distributed amongst people. And on top of that, like with homeless people, these are not people that have full free agency. A lot of people, we hit one park where there was this one, they had these guys sitting there drinking. They were like drinking heavily. And like, hey, you want to come back? Like, yeah. But the thing is, like, if I go to your shelter, if I go to your place, they have a zero tolerance policy for substance abuse. And if we stop drinking for 2 hours, we're going to start tweaking out. It's like, they don't have free agency. They don't have the agency to decide what to do with their own lives because they have this addiction. And you can't just say, well, libertarianism, you decided what you're going to do, off you go, have fun. I don't feel like that's I don't feel like that is. I don't feel like that is a good. I don't. I don't think those people had a have a choice. I think they are beyond a choice at that point. Anyhow, libertarians love toll roads as well. Yeah, that's another reason why you don't love libertarian. I'm not toll libertarian. You can't ride my road. Yeah, I know. I'm not, but I'm also not a. I'm not a communist either. So, not either way. I'm right down the middle. Some. I want some government. Not a lot though. As long as it pays me. I've cut out any form of unnecessary social media usage for the sake of my own mental health, hence why I don't want stuff like Google TV, but because I don't like Google, which is why I use Mail Fence. Yeah, Google's not great, but Google TV. So Google TV is not really Google. I mean, yeah, I guess they can steal your information, but you watch your Netflix on Google, the Google TV. I mean, the center one's a Google TV, but I don't use it for Google, obviously. Anyhow, yeah. Glad to hear there's actual some services step up from nothing. That's so the problem is, yeah, the homeless issue in California has gotten a lot worse, obviously, because, well, for a lot of reasons. I can't, I don't even know all of them, but the fact that California has really good weather allows people to live outside real easily. So, and then there's certain Supreme Court rulings that basically say that you can't kick people out of a park, for say. So you can't keep shuffling homeless people around. I think places like Los Angeles kind of gave up on it, and Los Angeles is really bad. There are some streets in Los Angeles that are just plain out disgusting. It's literally just shit everywhere, and it's just like tents all the way down the street, all the way down, and it's just awful. Like, it's truly, truly awful. I don't know how they're gonna fix it. Obviously, like San Francisco had like an open needle policy. They'd give them needles to do their drugs if they wanted to. It's not that the drugs thing is not a choice. They're not. I don't think really they're choosing to necessarily do drugs. Maybe some are. But anyhow. I love talking to these. Clark Kent says, Jesus was homeless. Nevertheless, Jesus was sent to the poor in spirit. There are proud, self-righteous homeless people as well as humble, wealthy people. It's a matter of motive of the heart. There you go. Aragon was masculine, a gentleman. That's something that's right. Aragon is freaking masculine. Yeah, Aragon is awesome. Most Americans are social libertarians and prefer left-leaning economics programs. Most media are the opposite, moral busybodies on the left and corporate simps from the right. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's more complicated than that. I don't know if most Americans are social libertarians. I think that's a good half and half, because we have a weird thing now. It's like now the left is trying to police language. So the left is saying you can't say, misinformation. You can't put that out there. So the left is the threat to free speech, and they're becoming very, very intolerant. They're not social libertarian. Feels like the right is now the social libertarians. So, anyhow, it's a weird. So, and then there's a Christian conservative that are not social libertarians, obviously. So it's a big mix, right? And I don't know if they prefer left-leaning economic programs. I don't know that. I wouldn't even say that's correct. Media, however, I was listening to Michael Mouse with Cenk Younger, whatever his name is, Young Turks guy. I'm not a big fan of Cenk, but they had an interesting talk about like how the media is mostly corporatist. So they're very corporate, support whatever the corporate lines are. And I think that's probably closer to correct. I think media is more about like towing the corporate line. Anyhow, Oppenheimer just crossed $900 million. Yay. Cool. I need to still see that movie. It's higher. Well, no. Higher. It's higher. It has a higher worldwide box office gross than any superhero movie this year. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Any superhero. Yeah. Barbie made a ton of money too. Oh, John, you're my favorite Hess. Thank you, Mion Wang. I'm guessing you're not a big fan of Rudolph Hess. I'm not either. He's a pretty bad person, Rudolf Hess. Although there's another John Hess that is the CEO of Hess Oil Company. And I wish I was that John Hess, because that guy's got some money. My dad used to go to the Hess Oil, because Hess Oil is really big on the East Coast. They have like Hess Oil stations, and you can get, if you go online, you can look up the Hess Oil truck. You can buy a little tiny matchstick or Hot Wheels truck, is Hess Oil. Yeah, he used to go to he's like, hey, I'm James Hess. Give me some free gas. I'm like, no, you're not gonna get any free gas from us. All right. Johnny Marino says, true spirituality is a selfless sacrifice service to everyone. Masculinity, whenever positive or negative, is human, but spirituality is divine. I mean, these prophesizers are better than like pure, like just putting stuff out there. So at least they're trying to say something that's relative to what I'm saying. My personal policy, I don't care what a color cat is, as long as it catches the mice. In the good government, no one thinks about it. There you go. Communism is the uni student's answer. Yeah, put them against the wall, first to the wall, right? Just started working out again after 3 years. I'm growing a Hitler stash already. Oh, there you go. Getting that testosterone. Oh, probably Hitler didn't. Oh, Hitler only had one ball, right? Alrighty. Hearing stories like that remind me that I was blessed with pastors who didn't want to do any toxic masculinity stuff like get in the shower with me. I wouldn't even say that's toxic masculinity. Get in the shower with young people is not really good. Young people as an underage people. All right. Corporate, academic, media gents left, not any real world leftists I know. They're all tired of listening to new jargons too. Good. They're all tired of the new jargon. I even like, I'm getting bored. Like, I feel like, because I'm moderate, which means I probably give the right more attention. I mean, I'm moderate, lean right. But the thing is, I disagree with the right a lot, especially now. Because I go through my YouTube with all the kind of the right-leaning stuff, and I'm like, I'm bored of all your talking points. It's the same stuff over and over again. It's just like, I already know the opinions. Well, in my opinion of the sex scenes in Oppenheimer, I'm all for more sex scenes. I would love more sex. I want them all to be sex scenes. Every single one of them. No, I have no problem with nudity at all. And I feel like Nolan I would trust him enough to know why he's doing what he's doing. So, sorry, I'm not gonna back you on that boat. I gotta get going pretty soon. We'll go to 45. For bodily exercise profits a little, but godliness is profitable for all things, having promise of the life that now is, and which is to come. 1 Timothy 4:8. Thank you, nobody special I don't even know how that refers to anything, but I'm sure it makes sense to you. That pastor did tell me to put his son in the hospital because he was gay and trying to make him straight. That was disturbing. Yeah, people can do shit. People can do bad stuff. Speaking of news, Ground News is pretty neat. We saw their ads as news aggregator outlets. So Ground News is interesting in that I like it I don't use it a lot, but I used to get the emails and like they'll say like stuff that you didn't notice. Because if you get most of your news from like the right wing, you're not going to notice certain stories that aren't covered by the left wing. And then more importantly, the left wing, if all you do is follow the left wing news, you're not going to see a lot of stories that the right wing covers. So seeing the stuff that's outside of your bubble or echo chamber kind of thing, that's really kind of powerful. So oftentimes I do that when I see something that's very disturbing. I'm like, what is the opposite way to look at this? And I try to do that consciously. Like, okay, what's another way to think about this? And and oftentimes, like I said, that telemarketers movie I watched, that documentary on HBO, telemarketers, I got really angry with that until I thought, what's another way to look at this story? And the other way to look at a story is don't give your shit to telemarketers. When a telemarketer calls you, hang up. Don't even be nice to it. Bye. Or just click. Hang it up. Doesn't matter. You don't need to you don't give them your information. If they're calling for the friends of the police, don't give them any money. Don't do that. Problem solved. Right? So I get all angry. It's like, we need more regulation. We need more regulation. Or how about we go out and educate people? This is what they do. Stop falling for this shit. There you go. What will I suggest for a new cinematography professor from India? I'd say start shooting your own stuff. Here's my rant. I get Shane Hurlbut's videos. Look, he's a good cinematographer. I don't know if he's great, but he's good. He's really good. He's better than me. Obviously, probably better than me. Far better. But the thing is, I watch some of those videos of his, and I'm like, that's really great. If I had a crew, if I have all those toys that Shane Hurlbut uses to make those lighting, that would be excellent. Guess what? I don't have that stuff. I have what I have. Right? So, I watch those and people are like, oh my God, this is such great learning about cinematography, how to light and all that. Yeah, but he's showing you all these toys he's using. And the same thing with that, there's that one game, it was based on an Unreal Engine or something like that. It was and you could basically, had all these lights that were built into it, and you could remake your lights, set up your lights the way you do a program, And people are like, I can learn cinematography by I can learn lighting by playing this game. It's obviously it's modeled after real life physics, so it's not like nonsense, right? But the problem is, okay, you can learn cinematography, but do you have access to all that gear? If you don't, then guess what? That game that thing does not help you learn how to light something. So I think the way to learn how to light something is to do it. It's to light a bunch of stuff. Go out there and light. Light as much as you can. Work. Learn on your own. Use resources that you online to augment that, but always learn primarily from experience, not from what a teacher is telling you. Go out there and do stuff. And then check back with a teacher. Check back with my videos, my old videos. I'll put out some new ones, I promise, eventually. Check out, Shane, go to Shane Hurlbut and see what he's doing, and then try to replicate with gear you have, But don't just think I need to learn from the Shane Hurlbut or from, whatever it is online. Use them as a reference, but learn primarily through experience, through actual trial and error. That's what I'm saying. All right. My personal politics is, as long as you're a good person who tries their best, as long as you're not harming others or doing anything illegal, I don't care. Well, what if the law is unjust? Ooh, there we go. What if the law is unjust? Anyhow. Let's see. Yeah. How do you feel about auteur theory crowd from Eat French, New Wave, and Andrew Saris being dismissive of directors like David Lean and Million Wyler? Wyler was a special one, lost some of his reputation. They were very cliquey, right? Andrew Saris and Pauline Kael and all that, very, very cliquey stuff. And then so is the French New Wave folks, very cliquey. So they will say, Hitchcock is an auteur, David Lean's not an auteur, or whatever. Obviously, I'm not. That's what all kind of shades my feelings toward auteur theory, and I don't really take it that seriously. So that's why I'm not, That's why I'm not hot on the auteur theory that much. I've been kind of very jaded about auteur theory. Where is the Mariachi band playing? So the Mariachi band playing today is in Lake Elsinore at the Mariachi Fest. I'll tell you who's playing. Mariachi Fest, Lake Elsinore. It's at the Storm Stadium, Diamond Stadium is what it's officially called. I make those mistakes. I call it Diamond Valley Stadium. It's the name of the stadium. It's owned partly by, I think the city owns it, but that's where the Storm plays. So it's not Storm Stadium, it's Diamond Valley Stadium, people. It starts today. Tickets are it's like $20, I think, to get in. It's not bad. Oh, if you want preferred general admission, $20. Preferred admission, $35. Go to lemariachifest.com. And if you want a mezcal tequila tasting pass, it's only $45. That's a pretty good deal. Stadium's open at 6 o'clock. Mariachi Juvenal Herencia Michoacana. 7 p.m. Mariachi Las Catrinas, Mariachi Los Toros. At 8 p.m., Mariachi Los Toros is continuing on. 9 p.m., Mariachi Divo Alma de Juarez. And then 10:45 to 11 is the fireworks finale. So, yeah, baby. That'll be fun. I'll be there with my camera. Say hi. And let's see, I'll play a little bit of Alma del Divo Alma de Juarez. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun night. I don't care. I'm gonna go all Coco on this shit. Oh my god, they got all my photos up here from last year. That's cool. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so cool. Those are from the video grabs from last year. Oh, good. I'm glad they found some use out of that video. Oh, that's so cool. Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I'm so glad they were able to use that. I charge them a lot of money for doing that. All right, sorry. I should show you the photos. Let me put that up for you. All right, switch over to. No, not that. It's going crazy. Here we go. Cut to that. Okay, so that's me. So yeah, Mariachi Fest. Where is it? That's not. There it is. So yeah, these are some of the photos from last year. So the mariachi crowd. So this is one of the camera crew I had shooting last year. I don't know if they had a camera. They either pulled from my video or from a camera. But yeah, the Mariachi Fest. It'll be fun. Fun little thing tomorrow. I don't know when the kids are doing. I think the kids are early. But anyhow, Mariachi Fest. Let's go back to me. Back to me. Only I can be on the stream. Sorry. Just kidding, guys. All right. I'm missing all your comments. Let's see here. Jump ahead. What is a seg scenes? It's the best kind of scenes, hardcore. It's the best kind. Tell me your view on Hollywood protecting Polanski. Polanski is a piece of shit. That's what I think about it. If you're a parent, then love your children no matter what, unless they're going down a horrible life path. Changing gender identity is not something horrible. Be careful with that. I'm very wary of the whole gender changing stuff. Like, don't do shit to your body that you might regret later. Could you please explain shooting coverage? I'm sorry for the dumb question. Yes. So coverage is basically getting different angles of something. So let's say I'm going to shoot Mariachi Fest. So I could shoot it from one angle, like one camera, and shooting the event. Okay, so that's one shot. Well, what do I cover that with? I got to cover, if I wanted to cover with some B-roll, I want to get some shots of the band's getting ready. I want to get some shots of the students or the kids in their mariachi costumes. I want to get some shots of people buying tacos. So that all that stuff is B-roll from a news coverage. Coverage from like a movie terminology is like, all right, so we have a performance, but now I might want to cut to something else, like I'll cut to a different angle, or I might want to cut to, say the actor is having a beer. Maybe he pours the beer from a keg and he drinks it. Oh my God, that's delicious, and slams it on the table. Okay, you can shoot all that from one master take, right? One master shot, drink, bam, that was delicious, right? Or you could, if you want to shoot coverage, you shoot a close-up of the beer pouring. You shoot a close-up of the table and then slamming it down. Shoot a close-up of the mouth drinking like that. So that's coverage. It's basically like B-roll, kind of. It's essentially the idea of B-roll, but in a movie context. That makes sense? The game is called Cine Tracer. Was it Cine Tracer? I don't know. Matt Workman did it. It was based on it kind of looks like Grand Theft Auto a little bit. Matt Workman thought we had beef or something way back when we were so commenting on no Film School. I have no beef with Matt Workman. I just disagree with some of his takes on stuff. It wasn't no beef, but I don't know. I think Matt Workman tends to be a little too reductive in the way he approaches things. You guys can keep talking to the false prophets. Are you a good person good enough? See, okay, now we know that they're not organic, because are you a good person good enough to enter heaven? How many lies have you told? That's what Clark Kent was saying, nobody's special. So they're literally running off of a script. We have uncovered the Christian vast right-wing conspiracy. We have discovered it. It is there. You guys have lowered your hand. You guys have overplayed your hand. Now we know. Now I'm going to that what's his name? Voice. This is the pinnacle of existence is almost here. This is not quite a Shatner impression. It is a homes.com, apartments.com a look at the things. I forget. What's this guy's name? You know what I'm talking about. Anyhow. Have I seen The Getaway with Steve McQueen in the remake with Baldwin? No, I have not. I have not seen the Steve McQueen movie. In film criticism, the auteur theory is overrated. In filmmaking, I still argue its uses. One vision is easier to handle than the committee. I agree. The problem is it's one auteur theory. What truly means an auteur theory is that you attribute that person to the auteur. There is the idea of one vision is not necessarily an auteur theory proposition. One vision can be one vision as contributed by a team of people is how filmmaking actually works, right? It is the director has one vision and everyone there is supportive of that vision, whether the director actually instructs that person how to complete that vision. Does that make sense? So, I have an idea for a movie, but an actor comes in and says, "Hey, what if I played it like this and it fits into my vision that I'm proposing?" Then that's incorporated. Versus the idea, I have this vision for a movie, actor, here's how you're going to behave exactly the way I tell you to behave. Like that's the difference between, like, to me, the auteur theory is more, I'm the puppet master and I control every little movement of everybody that does everything. Versus the reality of how I think filmmaking works is a lot of people come together, they support the vision, but they all are contributing their own experiences, their own approach to it to make that vision happen. That's a subtle difference, but it's a key difference because I think it also prevents the director become a tyrant. And no one wants to work for a tyrant, and tyrants aren't that interesting. And I think the idea of many people, many ideas coming to support a vision is much more, much richer, results in much richer stuff, much more complicated, much better quality than one person can achieve by strictly dictating their vision downward. And I think that goes for, I think the problem is with auteur theory is that it's easy to market the idea that one person is dictating down. Like Christopher Nolan dictates down his idea. Like, no, Christopher Nolan doesn't tell his director of photography exactly how to shoot it. He doesn't tell the Hans Zimmer, like, you must play it this way. They talk about what their vision is. And then these other people bring their talents together to support that vision. And that's the problem I have with auteur theories. Like auteur theory is like, well, that character, the way that person does this thing is represents the artist's personal. It's like it's a bunch of bullshit. What if the law becomes unjust? What if I become Captain America, MCU Captain America, Civil War? Amen. Yeah. In auteur theories, it's problematic when a sole metric and judges a director's worth. William Wyler hailed the director in balance and good taste. Auteur theory, yep, sure. What else? See. But what about the directors that signed the petition? Are they all shitty people in your opinion? Obviously, Polanski should be in jail. It's complicated, obviously, but I just think I wouldn't protect Polanski. I just wouldn't, and I would, look, I don't think people are necessarily shitty people. I would just I feel like you're not seeing the reality, and I don't know why you're protecting him, why you want to applaud him. Look, we don't know the whole details of the situation. There's people that I don't hate Woody Allen. I think a lot of people would say, well, I don't madly support Woody Allen, but I'm kind of. With Woody Allen, he's gone through a trial. He's gone through everything. Like, he's not found guilty. He's not wanted for anything. But Polanski, he steps back in America, he's going to get arrested. So, different scenario. As far as the people that support Polanski, I'll be like, really? Okay. I mean, it might shade how I feel about them, I guess. But yeah, I have an issue with supporting Polanski. It's a hard to explain my thoughts in short form live stream comments. Absolutely, that's why I'm the one doing the talking. In order to be proficient in theater and the arts and the movies and entertainment, you must have the devil within you. A Puritan quote. Ooh, yes, that's why all the Christian bots are out here telling me about all that stuff, huh? Yeah, exactly. Thank you for your support, John. And opinion. What if someone wants to learn camera angles, framing techniques? Which books do you recommend is the best? I recommend. There's a couple good books out there. What I would really recommend though is watch a lot of movies. Watch a lot of movies and the movies that you like, and then study them. And don't watch them once. Watch them once and figure out what's your favorite movie. Then watch it like 4 times, and just watch it 4 times. Like literally do your homework. Sit down and watch it and like. Okay, take a scene. Take a scene and break it down. Okay, it starts off with this angle, then it goes to this angle. You will learn a lot if you just take a scene apart and just figure out what all the components are. That's literally what they did with the Soviets. And the very first, did you know the very first film school was a Soviet film school? Very first film school in the world was in Russia. And they didn't have a lot of film stock, right? So they would take movies from America, especially the movie Intolerance by, what's his name? D.W. Griffith, right? They take that movie and they would study it. They're like, okay, so he starts with this shot, then he goes to this shot. Oh, that's how we get like the Eisenstein and the theory of montage and Kuleshov and all those guys. So take a movie that you like, or a TV show, or a TikTok video. I don't care. Take that and dissect it, like. When you watch it once, you are experiencing it as a story, and you get lost in the story. Cool. Watch it 2 or 3 times, and then you start seeing how it actually works, how it functions, and all the little pieces, and why the pieces are there. Like, that's how you learn. Don't worry about books so much, because books get aged. Books get old. They're not a lot of information. So watch and break down movies or TV shows or whatever it is. Just break it down. I'm not entirely cisgender, but it's complicated. It's more than what I put on a YouTube live stream. Okay. I think the whole cisgender thing is made up bullshit. Look, no one is one, or you're just a person. You've got male or female genitalia, but do you always feel like a man? Or do you always feel like a woman? No. So who cares? There's no need for a label for that. None of us feel entirely normal. And on top of that, you also have no idea what anyone else feels. So like you can look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He looks manly. He must always feel like a man. How do you know? How do you know how he feels? How do you know what it feels to be a real man? How do you know what it feels to be you have no reference to that whatsoever. You only have reference to your own internal feeling. That's all you have access to in your entire life. You will only know what it is like to be you. You will never know what it's like to be any other person. You'll never know what it's like to be any other sex. You'll never know any of that stuff. You are only you. And that is, to borrow a phrase from Barbie, that is good enough. That is good enough. You don't need to put a label on it. You are you, and that is good enough. Okay, is that going to get me canceled? Thank you, by the way. This is Jeff Goldblum I was going for. You are who you are, and you are enough. That's all that matters. Man, I got way back in the comments. That's why I'm way back there. All right. In the real world, it is impossible to have one person control aspects of filmmaking, but it's always more comfortable to have a final. Yeah, I agree with that. The problem with auteur theory is it posits the idea that there's one person in control of all aspects of filmmaking. That's what I have an issue. I got in a big old debate with the Nerd Writer back like years ago about that, because he made this video about Hitchcock that was so overly fucking auteur theory slobbery bullshit. Like, it was just like, Hitchcock has this actor walk over here. Hitchcock has this actor move this thing over here. It's like, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Now, you're reading way too much into it. But that's what Nerd Writer does. All right, I'm jumping ahead here. I love your video about Technicolor. Oh, thank you. It's been a long time since I did that video. If you had to choose one Tom Cruise movie, which would be your pick? Tom Cruise movie, gosh. I don't know. I enjoy Tom Cruise movies. I just don't have a favorite one. God. Fine. I'll pick the cheesiest one. Jerry Maguire. You had me at hello. I'll pick the one that probably pisses off the most people. Jerry Maguire. That's the best Tom Cruise movie, period. I put my stamp on that. All right. Hitchcock worked closely alongside the writer of every script. He was a dictator but he was a dictator among actors who wouldn't improvise ever. Actors shouldn't have creative freedom input. Yes, but he's not telling the actors, walk over here this way and then do this, move your arm this way, and that, all that stuff. So Hitchcock is an example of a person that had the myth is made bigger than the man. I think Hitchcock really was much more of a collaborator than he's been made out to be. Now, I agree with you. He would say, do not vary off the script. And that's absolutely fine, because he worked very hard on that script. And every word is chosen, to be that way. And when you make films, you have to be very, very careful when you let your actors improvise and go off script. Very careful, because you may not realize if they change a word, if they change something in the heat of the moment, and like they say something a certain way, you may not realize it's a mistake until like you're editing it, and it's like, whoa, he said it here, he went off script, he improvised something here, and then an act later, that no longer works. What I set up for act 3 doesn't work because he changed the script slightly there. So yeah, you gotta be very, very careful when you allow someone on set to to change things. To improvise. You have to be very specific, and that's why the director often says know the script backwards and forwards, right? But anyhow, yeah. I want to get to that one comment, so I'm going to jump to it. Zach Schwartz says, what's your favorite trumpet players? I love this guy named James Morrison from Australia. He is so freaking good. He's scary good. I love James Morrison. So he's an incredibly awesome cat. I would listen to his stuff all the time. So as a kid, I love the excitement and the brilliance of Maynard Ferguson. Maynard Ferguson is one of my favorites of all time. So yeah, James Morris is my contemporary live favorite. Wayne Bergeron. Wayne is it Bergeron? Wayne something. It's not Wayne Bergeron. Wayne Bergeron's that actor. Maybe Wayne Bergeron. Wayne Bergeron's also a favorite, but he's not really a solo artist. He's the trumpet player from The Incredibles, all the Pixar movies, and he's the high screaming trumpet player for a lot of stuff for Pixar. He's obviously an amazing guy. I played trumpet with a guy that was his teacher in middle school. So those are jazz cats. It'd be more like I like Wynton Marsalis. I'm not that big a fan of Wynton, but I do enjoy his stuff a lot. His classical stuff era was really, really good. I'm a big fan of German brass music. I love the European Central brass music, so I like that stuff too. But yeah, I think the sax is the best instrument ever. No, I totally disagree. Since we have all the Christian prophesizers here, what instrument blew down the walls of Jericho? Was it a saxophone? No, it was a trumpet. The trumpet, obviously, is God's favorite instrument. So, have you heard of Brazilian cinema? I suppose you have watched City of God. What else have you tried? No, I'm not very familiar with Brazilian. I didn't even watch City of God. I haven't seen a whole lot of Brazilian stuff. There you go. I would love me roasting Nerdwriter. Yeah, that video's offline now. I don't know why he took it offline. Maybe because he realized. Maybe it was like a copyright strike thing. All right, I gotta get going. It's 2:00. What was the comment? It's highlighted there. I lost it. I'm gonna read it off the thing. I feel corpse retail tell us we want these days, not vice versa, as free market would dictate. Am I wrong? It seems to try to propagate norms. You're not wrong. Can I be very, very controversial? 32-bit recording. 32-bit recording is the corporations telling you want 32-bit recording. And I've gotten so much shit for it. I still get shit for it. When I say that I have a video that says you don't need to record 32, why you don't need to record 32-bit floating point. And everyone's like, and somebody was like, oh, that's like saying you don't need more than 16 megabytes of RAM. It's like, no. You do not understand why you don't need. It's nice. Believe me, it's a cool feature. But if you do things right on a 24-bit, you can get almost as much performance. Almost as much. Not quite as much, but almost as much performance. And I've gotten a lot of shit from that. And why am I getting shit for it? Why are people not saying, I understand your point, John. And I understand why maybe you don't need to buy the new one. But if I buy a new one, maybe I'll include it. And that's what I say in the video. But no, I get shit for saying you don't need to record 32-bit float. Why? Because the corporation, the people that sell you audio gear, tell you that you need 32-bit float. You've got those influencers out there that are saying, and I get those emails, and I'll probably make a video, one or two, and you have to forgive me if I make a video promoting a product because, hey, I'm making some money here. But I will try to be as honest and as forthcoming with you, saying you don't need 32-bit. It's nice to have. It's a nice feature. I admit that. It's cool, but you don't need it. But then I get all these influencers, you don't need 32-bit float. Oh my God, this changes everything. This changes everything. And they got that poster. This changes everything. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It doesn't change everything. No, it does. If you knew what you're doing before, you continue doing what you did before and get exactly the same results. But I get shit on because the corporations, because in audio technology, let's be brutally honest, there is no improvement. Audio recording is as good as it is stuck because it is as good as it's going to get. There is no way to get better audio recorders. They're there. You're done. You can go and buy an audio recorder and record as good a quality as the best recorders 5 years ago. I don't know. You can buy a cheap one. I'm just saying there is not much improvement. It's flatline. The improvement, we've hit that curve and now we're flatline. There's not going to be much improvement in audio recording. Okay, audio recording is pretty much we're flatlined here, right? So how do they make money? They go make money by telling you this changes everything. We got 32-bit float. Oh my God, this changes everything. And then the YouTubers and then people that don't have experience like I do. I've been doing this for 20 fucking years. People that have been doing it for 3 years tell me it changes everything. I've been around for 20 years. I've heard it changes everything over and over again. I am familiar with the cycle, the marketing cycle. You got me going on this. I'm sorry. You got me on this soapbox. I'm going for it. I've heard this marketing cycle over and over and over again, and it changes nothing because nothing changes. Nothing changes. It really isn't. At the end of this day, it's still about telling stories and making the best stories possible. That's all it is. That's all it is. All right. I do like the new audio. I do like the new Adobe Enhance. They've added that to the beta of Premiere. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for some things. Really bad for good things, though. The Adobe Podcast, that audio enhancer. I should just talk about that real quick before I go. I gotta get going pretty soon, but that new audio enhancer they've added. So basically, if you play with Adobe's podcast thing, it can clean up audio. It works really good with audio that's not so good. Well, to an extent, it works better with audio that's not captured very well. It doesn't work very good with audio that's captured well. In fact, it actually makes it worse. So don't use it for good, clean audio. Use it for like audio, because I admit I shot this because it bugs me sometimes with a client and we're like, oh yeah, you don't need audio for this, and then they make you do a scene where you really do need audio. So we shot, but I knew I had this in my back pocket. I knew it would work, and it does pretty good. It was just these two people sitting on a bench talking, and there was traffic noise. So, and I was about 3 or 4 feet away from them with a microphone on the camera. Not the best place for a mic. It did pretty good. Anyhow, I'm going on a weird tangent that probably none of you are familiar with. What audio recorders? Tascam is not the most pricey. Tascam you can get Tascam and Zoom, and does Rode have one? I don't know. Tascam, Zoom, sound devices. What's some other brands that I would recommend? What's another one? I used to own some Tascam stuff, which is pretty good quality. Zoom, I've kind of gone more toward. Zoom is really good. But the thing is, you can buy some cheaper. You don't need to buy, and you don't need to buy new. Buy some used gear, because used gear can be really good, especially audio equipment. So, try watching City of God. I will. I should definitely watch it. You got shit up by people who said that 24 is worse than 64. So even for being given shit for not using 32-bit, it doesn't surprise me. I know. My point was that 32-bit float was completely, to my vision, completely manufactured by the manufacturers. Completely, it was a feature that nobody really. Well, I won't take that back. A feature that most people really don't need if they knew how to properly record audio. I had my friend doing some audio work for me, and he recorded too hot. Like I told him, keep your peaks at -20. Keep your peaks at -20. He's like, oh, I meant to -10. It's like, no, -10 is not good enough. You need to be -20. Because I knew he was trying to audio test with his own voice, and he doesn't like get on the mic and like, good morning, Lake Alsar. He doesn't get on there and just like really yell into the mic and try to hit the. So I knew that the -10 was way too hot. And I had limiters set on it, so basically limiters engaged, and anytime you got a principal that gets up there and starts like yelling and talking really loud. By the way, so I did a student of the month program. I set my levels. I got on the microphone. I did a sound test. Now testing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that's what I do in my audio test. And I see it. I see the peak hit -20. Okay, -20. Then I'm sitting there, and then this one teacher comes up to me and says, "Hey, you're recording this, right?" I'm like, yeah. My voice is really loud, so I probably don't need to be on the mic. Like, no, be on the mic. Don't ever tell me my voice is loud. I don't need a mic. I don't care. Get on the mic. I don't care how loud you think your voice is. Get on the fucking mic. Sorry, I'm getting a little annoyed. So he gets up there. He's like. And he just like eats the mic and like, he's like starts yelling into the microphone. Like not yelling, but like really loud, really loud. Guess what? -20 dB, handle it like a champ. No problem whatsoever. Not even close to peaking. Not even close. So yeah, -20 dB, man. Peaks at -20 dB, long ways to go. And I had limiters on it, but it didn't sound bad. It sounded really clear, really clean. Not even close to peaking. Not even close. Anyhow. Some argue that AI are going to give us better script stories than the ones we write. Nope, not true. Those people are what I call idiots. AI will never. So I was listening to the podcast today. They're saying like, think of AI as AI. The best chess player is not the AI. The best chess player is not the human. It's the human with the AI. It makes the best chess player, and that's going to be the reality going forward. AI, it's not that AI is going to take over. It's that we're going to integrate with AI. We're going to man-machine meld. And I welcome our new overlords. All right. What would it benefit a person to gain a brand new car, a relationship, a new phone, or more money, a new house, new clothes? But in the end, they ended up losing their own eternal soul. Preach, brother, preach. Amen. And you get a car, but guess what? You're all going to hell. You're all turning away from the face of God for going with your materials, goods, and such and things. Anyhow. I totally agree with you about 32 float. Helps the jet engine and wide dynamic range. That's effects with no need for dialogue, music recording. You know it's at levels. Yep. And it's a question, too, whether it's really useful for jet engines, because if you're recording that loud, your microphone might be destroyed. I mean, most microphones only have 120 dB like tolerance, and if you're getting louder than that, you're probably just going to blow out the whole circuitry anyway, so yeah, whatever. But what difference does it make if you record 32-bit float if your own soul is damned to eternity in hell? Really, people? Does it matter if your highlights are clipping, if your soul is going to be, forever turned away from the face of God? Is such a thing? I'm losing it. I'm getting hungry and I'm thirsty. All right. I like to imagine Coppola's leaving all those Christian comments in secret. The guilt of Michael's confessing in Godfather Part 3. Yeah, there you go. Here's a good representation. The Tascam DR40X is used for about $100 XLR inputs. Yep. Yeah, the Zoom H4 is pretty good too, and that's, you can probably find them for cheap. Remember, used gear. Don't think you need to buy new professional gear. If you buy professional gear, buy it used, because professional gear is meant to last. So if you can buy a used professional level recorder or professional level camera, I'm not talking about a cheapy Rebel camera, but like a professional grade camera, then it's going to be good. Especially if you can buy it like factory refurbished. Like, to me, factory refurbished just means the factory certified it to be good. So you have the comfort of knowing, hey, I went to the factory, they checked it out, looks good, and they shipped it out. They're not going to buy something that doesn't work. And then factory refurbished means you often get a warranty with it too. Anyhow, I'm tired. Sorry. We just have to know that 32-bit float will save your peaks, but it won't save your soul. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I love it. All right. I gotta get going. I gotta get some lunch, and I gotta finish packing up because I put some batteries. I gotta put the rest of the cameras in the car. I'm gonna get some lunch, and I'm gonna go shoot some of this tequila tasting. And I may or may not have some. I may or may not. It is only one life. It will soon be the past. Only what is done for Christ will last. And it better be in fucking 24 frames a second, you motherfuckers. Oh God, I'm sorry. I get going, but I gotta read these comments. Eli the computer guy. I always like talking about Eli the computer guy, because he made a nice comment on my video. And I think he's a cool guy, so I like Eli the computer guy. Possibly the computer effects has already replaced large amounts of the writers, like it works in Hollywood. The writers had to write around the SFX, which can't be changed to save costs. Yeah, it's kind of true. Yep. Audio is my weakness too. Do look into this new audio. Do look in the Adobe Podcast. It's not available. Adobe Podcast is available for everybody. If you are using Premiere Pro, download the beta version. You can play it with it inside Premiere. I just don't like using beta products because all my plugins aren't related and all that working. So, but you can also use the beta thing to export the audio. That's what I want to do. But look into this stuff. It's gonna change how I handle audio, like hugely. Go have fun, says Jill. I'm not gonna have fun. I'm gonna be working my butt off. I'll be on my feet for 6 hours. Fun. I mean, maybe the tequila part be fun. Maybe the music part be fun. Maybe like trying to find some hot Mexican girls like dancing to the beat. That'd be kind of fun. But woe unto you, and cursed who are laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep forever, Jesus Christ. Luke chapter 6 only. Curse people, curse. Only curse people, curse. You motherfuckers. You motherfuckers are going to hell. I will lay down pain on those who defile my brother. For I am the one who shepherds the people as they walk through the shadow of death. Motherfucker. You don't realize, Clark, I'm on your side. I am in the power of Christ. I am telling people they do not need to shoot 32-bit floating point. That they only need to shoot 24 frames a second. Amen, brothers. I'm telling you now. Woe be the man who shoots 60 frames a second and expects it to be cinematic. Woe be the person that does not set their audio levels so that the peaks do not reach above minus 20 decibels. Woe be any heathen who thinks that they don't need to focus their camera, that they can rely on autofocus alone. No, sir. Preach, brothers, preach. Preach. Hand of the mighty. Hand of the mighty. Thou shalt not underexpose. Thou shalt not overexpose. Thou shalt get the exposure just right. Yeah. Be careful how you hear and perceive and interpret Jesus Christ. Luke chapter 8. You know not what spirit you are. Jesus Christ. Luke chapter 9. I have in my belief that Jesus would definitely shoot 24 frames a second. Definitely. What would Jesus do? He would expose properly. He would avoid exposing to the right unless he knew what he was doing. He would record with proper headroom. He would record with would expose within his dynamic range. That's is what Jesus would do, my brothers. I will see you next week. Filmmaker IQ.com. All right. That was fun, wasn't it? See, I usually, it takes me a while to get rolling here. And then it gets fun. And then we have fun. And those people that like, yeah, John's podcasts his little live streams are boring. They don't wait till the end like you folks do. They don't wait till the end when I find that little jokey thing and I just go for it. That's how I should just do that in the beginning. But no, you gotta like, it's like wine. You gotta like let it simmer. You gotta like let it age. The podcast needs to age until you get to the part where I'm screaming about shepherding people through the valley of death. That's all you 26 people out there right now watching. You guys have found the beauty, found the amazing thing. You 20 people and 6 bots who are proselytizing for the power of Christ. Well, believe me, I have nothing wrong with the power of Christ. Christ compels you. Christ is the beauty of the human spirit. We can have a little fun with Christ. I'm sure Jesus would be fine with that. As long as we're doing it in good fun. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Filmmaker IQ. I'll stream again next week. I don't know if I'll get any videos done, but I will stream. All right, guys. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye now. Off to eat some...